Get ready for takeoff because it's a take flight talk. It's your boy James Wudi. We got Fitz. Okay, we are back for another week of New York Jets action. We face those Bills up in Buffalo. Fitz, how you feeling?
We're gonna lose. I mean, bad. I feel bad. You know, we are. Um, we've only been making a case this season so far over the last 5 games that our quarterback of the future may not be the quarterback of the future. We've only been making a case for at the very best, he is a longer term project than we were hoping for. I mean, that's really best case scenario is that it's just going to take longer for him to figure out. So at this point, no. I mean, it's a tough part of the season. I think every other piece of this team is playoff ready besides their quarterback, and that's going to hold us back. I'm hoping for better. I've said, and every single time I've criticized them, I've said I'm staying optimistic. But the fact is, the guy's throwing for under 55% this season, barely over 1,000 yards, and a third of them came in one game against the Bills, where he threw how many picks? Things are not looking good going into a game where we're going against one of the best defenses in the league and offensives in the league. Woody, send it back to me. Am I crazy?
I mean, on paper, yeah, the Bills are the second best offense in the entire NFL and the best defense by a large margin in the NFL. So, I mean, their point differential is crazy. You from the outside looking in, from a national perspective, because the Jets have been getting covered a lot this season, right? We lost Brees, we lost AVT. Those are our two best offensive weapons. There's no argument, no debate about that. To then follow that up, right, where Zach, the spotlight is now on Zach, right? You can't hide behind Brees, right? You can't hide behind. Well, I mean, you should be trying to hide behind AVT, but he's not there, right? So you gotta make do with what you got, and he did not make do. He did not make do. The Zach pack. They're all talking about how he threw 355 yards. It's his first time of his career throwing over 300 yards. First time this season throwing over 252. I don't know. I feel like a lot of it was in garbage time. There's definitely somebody who we are going to talk about who, if he didn't get 47 yards after the catch on one catch, that reception would have put him actually under 300 yards for the day. So I'm not overly impressed by the 355 number.
Well, and Woody, that you bring up a good point here. The Zach pack, right? These people that are just so obsessed with him, and they're. I appreciate the loyalty. I got to be honest with you. I really do. I really do. I wish, we had more folks that were that loyal to the Jets, because most of the time it's, oh, we suck. So we got some optimism, and I think that's a good thing to have. But at the same time, we need to be realistic here, where we've said this on the podcast numerous times. We're not waiting 8 years for the Geno Smith, glow up, right? Zach needs to perform soon. And I think if he's able to do it before the end of his second year here, that's great. That's what he needs to do. But I think we're getting to a point here where we can go and spin the stats all we want. Oh, well, he's won games, right? He's only lost one game. He's 4-1. Okay, that's not a QB stat. You can't go and say, Michael Nanny has said that on Twitter today, and he's totally right. We've been saying that without saying it like that, but winning games in a QB stat. And at the end of the day, he has not been propelling us forward. He's been holding us back. And the question that I think a lot of Jets fans have had, and a lot of arguments that we've heard from this Zach pack is, oh, well, when we need him to throw, we can. It hasn't been part of the game plan, for him to throw, because Breece Hall and Michael Carter, we didn't need them to throw. Okay, we did last game. He got yards. He also had 3 interceptions. He also did not look very good. He's missing open guys. He's throwing the ball. Like, for you to throw the ball away, like if you're trying to throw the ball away and instead it's an interception, like that, how do you do that? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's beyond a rookie mistake. He's in his second season. Like, I that's so ugly. And if he's there where he's trying to throw the ball out of bounds and it's a pick, this is a lot more of an uphill battle than I think any of us have realized.
Well, here's my defense. All right, let me come in, and this stinks. All right, because I mean, other than my own diary, there's no one on this planet that knows better than you how mad I was that we didn't trade our second overall pick and get the haul that Miami did for the third. I don't know if you've been seeing that graphic around on social media. Yeah. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb. And we're out here just instead, with Lisa Wilson's son. I don't know. But what I will say is that Bill Belichick has made so many quarterbacks in their second year look so bad. Like Justin Herbert, 4 picks in his second year against the Pats. They got smacked like 33-0. What's his name? Josh Allen, right? They just a couple days ago, Kyle Brandt was asking Josh Allen, do you have any advice for Zach? And he threw 3 picks just like Zach did in his second year, his first game against the Pats that year. I mean, it happens. I think Baker, believe it or not, is the only quarterback that really was able to do work against Belichick his whole career. But that I think is my saving grace. He did not look nearly as bad against Denver, great defense, Green Bay, great defense, but Belichick, I mean, he's just playing on a different level. You know what I'm saying? So I think this game against what is the best defense in the NFL will give you a much more accurate picture for moving forward, because I personally think that this is still a playoff team, right? I've not lost hope in anything. You said we're ready in every position. If we are truly ready in every position, including head coach, then quarterback, we should be able to drag him into the wild card, because that's what teams do all the time.
Well, yeah. I'm at the point where, I mean, let's go and analyze something, because something very interesting happened this past week. Because, dragging the quarterback up, I wish that was something we could do. And that's something we still can do. But what quarterback? Let's take a look at, what's happened in the last week. This kind of went underreported. Joe Flacco started the season, the first 3 games of the season, because he was listed as number 2 quarterback going into the year. Veteran, we brought him in here for that reason. In this last week, it has been reported that he has been dropped down to quarterback number 3, and we've elevated Mike White. Now, is there something that happened in practice that could have been responsible for that change? Maybe. Probably not. They've been singing Joe Flacco's veteran praises for what he does in practice since day one. Adam Gase did this back in the day too. So what really is going on as we elevate Mike White over Joe Flacco is if it hits the fan with Zach against the Bills, or maybe against the Patriots after the bye, we're throwing the dice with Mike White. That's what this move indicates. And honestly, great, good. And because at the end of the day, like, we're rooting for Zach. We spent a lot of draft capital. He's a second overall pick. I don't think a single Jets fan on the planet wants him to fail. We want him to succeed. There's questions about his ability to do so. And we all want it to happen, but who knows? If we're going to be in this position where it doesn't work out, if he's not ready, we might as well go and use a quarterback we already have on our roster and see what the hell. He put up one of the most efficient games probably in the entire NFL season last year. Like, if we're talking QB efficiency, like, he had an 88% completion percentage. That was probably the most efficient game in the NFL last year, at least one of them. So if that's something that the guy can do against a Super Bowl playing team, that was against the Bengals last year. They made it to the Super Bowl. I think that he deserves an opportunity if Zach can't make it. And we were rooting for Zach, but we could at least go and find out what we have on our roster before we have to go and either trade up for another quarterback draft pick in a couple of years, next year and the year after, or make a whole giant trade for a Lamar Jackson or someone else. So I think that was a good move, and that move is really indicative of, I think, the lack in trust the front office is slowly seeing or being prepared for more than anything else.
I mean, Halloween was earlier this week, but that was probably some of the scariest thoughts that I've just had listening to you go
Am
down
I
that
wrong?
road.
Am I wrong though?
Are you wrong? That's a great question. You might not be. You might not be. I don't know. Salah was pretty. I mean, his words were pretty strong that Zach is not going to be benched for anything other than injury. We also know Salah lies, though. As much as we love him, he's a player's coach. He's our boy. Wears his heart on his sleeve. He has lied to us.
He also might be ready for week 1, right, Woody?
So, I mean, everything that you're saying makes sense, but that would be disastrous for so many levels. I mean, to bench him, you cannot go into the next year with him as your quarterback then. So this whole upcoming offseason would be, I guess, a Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. I don't think we have the capital. We don't have any extra picks this year to move up for one of those top guys. It's a nice QB class at the top, but I mean, and are we going to do that song and dance again? I truly feel like we should just get a vet. Like we really should, because we have failed these guys, even though we have not failed Zach. If Zach fails, it is his own fault. We have failed every quarterback of the last 15 years that came before him. So we're going to draft again. We would have to enter the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes because next season, this team inarguably is ready for a playoff run. They're proving it this year. The defense will only be better. All right. We still have Carl. CJ restructured his contract. We still have him. Obviously, Sauce and DJ, right? One of the best cornerback tandems in the league right now, will be even better next year. They're 25 and 22. What? Everything. The offense, Brees the Beast. Now he's going to have a full season. He already knows what it takes, what he has to do, the adjustments that he had to make, right? In those earlier games when he was still trying to find his footing. He had a fumble that first game. No. Now he is Brees the Beast. I was actually talking to a Bengals fan today, and he was like, damn, man, he is Chubb status. He is better than Joe Mixon right now. And
no question.
I can't disagree with that. So we are ready. So to bench Zach this year, that means that next year he cannot be QB1. We would have to trade for somebody. I'm a huge fan of the idea of trading for Gardner Minshew, but Lamar Jackson, signing him to an extension, we cannot go in with Zach if Zach is benched this year.
Well, and I sort of agree with that, and I want to clarify one thing. So when I say give Mike White an opportunity, I mean I think it's going to be a mid-game change. If they're going to do anything, it's going to be a mid-game change. He's struggling against the Bills or the Patriots, whatever game. If it's not looking good, and we're making to about halftime, and he's had multiple opportunities, we're going to be starting to chant, Mike White, Mike White. I mean, we've done that before. If it's going to get ugly, I think it's going to be off the bench. Mike White will come in, and then that's going to be his opportunity. And if he proves himself, and if he performs, better than Zach was, and gives us some hope, a promise, because at the end of the day, let's not forget, Mike White's been in the league for longer than Zach has, but Zach's had significant amount more playing time. Despite him being hurt and him being his second year, he's had a lot more time to be prepared as the number one, making this chemistry with his receivers. Yet Mike White still did what he did in that Bengals game last year. So I think it's going to come down to off the bench. Can you do something? Can you show us something? If not, we're going back to Zach. If so, we got a huge quarterback controversy in New Jersey, and that's it's terrible to think about that. I don't want to be there, but at the same time, this coaching staff is torn right now, I think, between the stubbornness of this was our guy, we picked him. So if we go and bench him for Mike White, we're admitting fault and we were wrong. But then also we need to put the best players on the field to give us the best chances to win. And I think right now they're torn between the two where they're not really sure who the best quarterback is to make them win right now is. I think they probably know it's not Flacco, which is why he got demoted. But I think they're also questioning, is it Zach, which is why Mike White got promoted. But we're in weird times here. We're in weird times. And again, nobody is rooting for Zach to pull this off and be the guy we need him to be more than Wudi and Fitz here. But we're just being real that there are some real questions here.
Well, those are all facts right there. I'm going to say for this Sunday, I mean, if you read the Wudi 3, we're going to look at it in a little bit, but if you read the Wudi 3, I don't think it's, a foregone conclusion that we get smacked. This actually has the makings of a trap game. The Bills are on fire. They are a team that probably should be undefeated. Okay. They were decimated by injury, the only game that they lost, and they still almost came back. The ref was out here bobbling the football while they lost the last 3 seconds of their comeback. They were in field goal range. They were ready to kick Tyler Bass, to get that 1-point win, but ref mishap. So they are pretty much unbelievable, right? Largest margin of victory in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Everything. They are just almost like the perfect team, well coached. And the Jets, again, like all those examples I was saying before, we seem like we're a team that's in disarray. There are fans out there. I don't even know. Fitz might be one of these fans that think we're going to win one game the rest of the year. Like, we had a fun ride, and then, now we're done. I didn't say you. I was. You could be. I don't know. I know you. Your outlook is way worse post-Pats game than pre-Pats game.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, we're going to be 5-5. I mean, I hate that that's the case, but we got an easier. I know
that's what you believe, but
we got easier games down the stretch. But I agree with you. I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. And I'm just going to give a quick view of the game, and then I want to go into the Wudi 3 here because you pumped out yet another superb article. So, with this game here, I'm going to go and give a score prediction. I think it's going to be 24-13. And this is not as much of a compliment to the offense as much as kind of hurting. I think we're going to have a lot of turnovers that amount to points. And that's where we kind of struggle, right? I mean, our defense will get us the ball. They will get turnovers for us. And do we, take advantage of them? No. I mean, the vast majority of the time we do not. We're not converting turnovers to points. The Bills do, and they will. And you bet your butt if we had 3 interceptions against the Patriots, we're getting at least 1 or 2 against the Pats. Maybe not an interception, but at least turnovers. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 turnovers at some level on offense, I think, that the Bills will be able to do. This is a mean defense, and we have a quarterback who looks like a freshman in high school, like physically and his performance. Like the kid, this guy's never had to buy a razor in his life. But when we go and look at our defense, I think our defense is going to step up. I think our defense is going to play well. When I say 24-13, I think, there's a decent shot the Bills get the ball on turnover on their side of the field, once or twice in this game, and they make do with that. When the defense, I think the defense is going to have a great game. I think the defense has a good shot for multiple turnovers as well. But I don't trust our offense to convert in those turnovers generally, but especially not the best defense in the league. But Wudi, 24-13, that's for me. Love to hear your score prediction and dive into the magnificent, the perfect, as always, Wudi 3.
Wow. My mama don't even talk about the Wudi 3 like that. But my score prediction, although I do think this is a trap game and that a win is closer than most people would think, my score prediction is 23-17 in favor of the Bills. Our defense has been bending, not breaking, for quite some time. And I actually went into great detail during the article talking about how our defense during this run, since Zach's return, has not allowed a team to score their season average of points per game. All right. We've actually been shutting them down at an average margin of 5 points less. So the Bills average 29 even. So that would actually be the 24 that you said. But I think we're going to do 23 because I think we're going to bend and not break. I think that's, 14 and then, a couple field goals. So anybody who got Bass in fantasy, get hype because I think we're going to see some field goals. And then the 17, I I know Zach. You know Zach is he's not great, but he's been doing a great job escaping the pocket. Okay, and I think this running game we're going to see a little bit more of it. I mean, James Robinson, he was literally on the team for 3 days, 4 days, so he made literally zero impact. Michael Carter actually looked good, but for some reason we started giving him the ball, which has been his life story. This might be the week that we finally use Elijah Moore. I mean, one thing that Buffalo has everywhere, literally on the line in the secondary, is speed. Oh my God. These boys are quick. They're safeties, corners. So to fight speed with speed, we know Michael Carter isn't the fastest. So, to throw those reverses to Barrios, finally get Elijah Moore involved would be great. So I do think we're going to see something. Mike LaFleur has shown me something. I mean, his play calling against the Pats, guys were open. Like, it was kind of incredible to see. Like, when Zach made the right read and a good throw, people had room to to run after the catch. CJ Uzoma had a good one. Conklin had good ones. Garrett Wilson, I thought Garrett Wilson was going to take that second catch to the house. Okay, he also had the first one, which was a beaut, obviously. Denzel Mims looked like he was about to catch it and go to the house when he bounced off that first tackle. I mean, these guys were getting open. LaFleur has been doing work. So I think he will continue doing work. It's just up to Zach to execute. And I think the running backs will carry more of that load, because that's the model that we need to follow, is the running backs carry the load. So I think that's what we're going to see, 23-17. But for the game, let's talk about the three things that the Jets need to do to win the game. The three things that I'm looking at, and the three things that, if they are done properly, the Jets can truly win this game. So first one, Josh Darnett. All right, this boy is elite. Okay, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He can do it all. But can we hold them under 20 points? That's the magic number, because their defense has not allowed more than 20. So we need to keep the offense under 20 if we're going to win. Number two is Zach. Zach, he was throwing no picks for a little bit of time, all right? He needs to go Zach to the future and go back to where he's not throwing picks, because the only game that the Bills have lost this year was the one game that they did not get an interception. So that, I think, is a key stat. And then number three, Mims the word, Denzel Mims, he should ascend back into the starting role. We just talked about speed, and he is the best blend of size and speed on the entire team. Will they use him? Will that speed pay off? Okay, I think there's a chance that it might if they utilize him, but as we know, they've been kind of shady with their usage. But that is the Wudi 3 right there. I think, Zach is also more comfortable throwing to those big guys. That's why no matter what is happening with Corey Davis, I'm sure a couple of those bad passes that we saw in the Pats game was actually him trying to throw to Corey Davis on the bench, because he is just finding, he's always looking for Corey Davis. But now you got another guy who's 6'3" in there. Use them, Zach. Use them. So I think, those three things, if we were to do that, we're looking at like a 2017 victory over the Bills.
Well, I agree with all that. The only thing I would add when it comes to keys to victory is just turnovers, man. I think when I gave that score prediction, because everything you said, I would love to see more Mims. I give Mims some grief because I don't see it. I think he's just been a guy that's been lost. I mean, Salah and JD, they've been such a tremendous judge of talent since they stepped into the room at one Jets drive. And for some reason, they've seemed to have an issue with Mims. They always speak nicely about him, but it's last year we had Corey Davis and Elijah Moore out. Mims wasn't on the field. I don't know what the heck that was about. And maybe something's changed in the offseason where when our top two guys are either disgruntled or hurt, he seems to be getting more playing time, which good. We saw flashes of talent of him. I don't think he's bad. But, there's been something going on with him. It seems like he's gotten his attitude in check. Not that I said that he never really had an attitude. Maybe not. That's not the right word, but he seems to have figured something out that clearly was lacking last season. And the coaches
I think it's
taken
confidence.
notice.
His confidence. He didn't have any confidence because he thought he was the guy. He was drafted to be wide receiver 1. Then the next regime comes. He gets food poisoning, all that stuff, right? But when he's finally back on the field, it's like, oh, we need you to play special teams. We need you to learn all these different nuances to the game. Where if you're coming in truly as a number 1. That's not something that they asked Jamar Chase. That's not even something they asked Elijah Moore, who was also a second-round pick. So I felt like that just being a young kid and the mentals, he wasn't there mentally. And he actually has spoken about that working this offseason with a vet like Corey Davis, who has also had his role go up and down, right? He was drafted to be the guy and then was holding second fiddle to A.J. Brown, right, until he came here. I think that helped him. So now that's why he came in the best shape. He came in however you need to help the team. Yeah, he asked for a trade because he wants to play. But wherever he goes, he seems to have given it his all. I wish Elijah had that mindset, actually, just to be okay with the role. Like Denzel, I feel like he is at more peace now than he was last year, being where he's at. Because, yeah, I mean, like you said, he hasn't gotten playing time, but I think, we're seeing a better version of him this year for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen much of him, but what we've seen has been decent. Definitely had some drops early in the year that did happen, but so did Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson bounced back. I think if Denzel Mims is the reason why we win this game, or if we lose and we were sitting here saying, oh, wish we saw more Denzel, I'll eat my boot on the next podcast. I don't think that's going to be the case, but he is a tall guy. He's got talent. Would love to see, anybody. I don't care who it is. Mims, Braxton Barrett, Jeff Smith. If Jeff Smith is the reason why we win the game, great. I will stop my realtor joke with him because he sounds like he's got the name of a realtor. I think that if we win this game, it's going to come down to the defense doing what we know they've done and Zach limiting turnovers. Because I woke up in a hot sweat last night, Woody. A hot sweat. It was 3:30 in the morning, and I wake up and I just had these night terrors, these night horrors of Zach Wilson just seeing ghosts like we saw with Darnold, being absolutely horrified out there. I think he's going to be scared. He's going to be scared. I mean, we've seen him play scared against good defenses. Like that's what we need him to change. It's not a talent shortage. It's not this or that. The guy plays scared. You see his face. And if he can get some confidence and go out there and do some, a little long dicking, man, like walking with a little swag, like give me something. I think he could be good. But this defense is mean, like you said. The number 1 defense in the league, the number 2 offense in the league. I mean, how does a team like this, where despite our defense being tremendous, we still got some inconsistent play from safety. We still got some issues with drop back coverage from linebackers. I don't see how we can pull a win off here, and I would be the happiest little boy on the planet if I was proven wrong. But I think we don't match up to teams like the Bills right now. What we've seen so far this season, I think we have personnel, I think we have talent that we could be able to, but the players aren't living up to that expectation where they should be walking onto the field at MetLife at home. We're at home, right?
Yeah.
At home where we are 1-3. Like, come on. That's something that I think is going spoken about here too. 1-3 at home and undefeated on the road. That's a weird stat, Woody. Like, that is weird, man. Like, I'm glad I went to the Green Bay Packer game at the Packers instead of at home, because I don't know if we can pull off a win at home these days, but we'll see what happens. Woody, I want to send it back to you for some final thoughts. What do we think?
Hey, everybody, keep your head up high, all right? I do think it is possible. I mean, I love our linebackers being able to, be QB spies out there for Joshy. All right, I don't think CJ getting hurdled this week, all right, because that boy Josh loves to hurdle. I do think we got the pieces. Our defensive inconsistencies, yeah, they happen sometimes at safety. They definitely happen with the penalties on the line. So JFM, we looking at you, but we've also seen them do so much work, and I think they are so hungry for turnovers. We against the Packers, we almost had a Sauce pick six. Now the MC2 pick six. I mean, they're hungry for this. So I think we're going to see a great game out of them. And like you said, it's the turnovers on the other side of the ball, right? Those are the 1 and 2 of the Woody three was the turnovers and the D. And you're so right about him playing scared. Zach, like the Steelers game, he has swag. Like you saw it, right? He's out
Big
here
time.
hitting the gritty. Like he was feeling himself. He has swag.
And he stayed in the
Miami,
pocket nearly longer than I wanted him to, but he got the throws off. Like he was like, "Come get me."
yes, the fourth quarter, he was balling. Like there's no argument about that. He was balling. The Miami game, you still saw the swag. You still saw the swag. I think they're another faster defense, right? So they were getting to him. He had to dance around a lot,
Yeah.
right? So the stats weren't there, but you still saw that energy. Every game since then, he has been. I don't want to say rattled. That's a strong word, but he has not been as comfortable with this defense. And see, I think that's where the advantage goes to both White and Flacco, right? They are better against the blitz. They know where to go. Like they have their top three. Like they have their progression. The pressure's coming. All right, here. I think Zach does not. He literally still doesn't know. His pre-snap reads are not great, and if he does make the choice, he stares the guy down, and he's been getting a lot of batted balls. I don't even know if Flacco had a single batted ball, like for real. Like he's been trash, and he was missing throws like horribly, but batted balls. That's a lineman being like, oh, you throwing it right here. Let me. So yeah, it's been real bad. I feel like there's been a lot of confidence killers, and unfortunately, Mike LaFleur, Robert Saleh can say whatever. They can do whatever, but it's really up to the person itself. You have to. The confidence is a self thing, and I'm going to quote somebody who Fitz knows how this person makes us both feel. But I'm going to quote former Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, who found it to be a red. Oh my gosh, I forgot red flag. Sorry, I was thinking red alert. I was like, that's not the phrase. A red flag. How much the Jets have bent over backwards to coddle Zach Wilson. He's been coddled. The Zach Pack is still coddling him, right? In the comments of all the social media posts. It's time for him to just, nut up. Show us that if he did have a razor, there would be something to take off. You know what I'm saying? Show us that the razors in your life aren't scooters, right? They are things that could actually, because as of right now, they have been treating him like a boy. They have been, pampering him, and it doesn't. To be honest with you, I already said we can go into the bye 5-4. I actually thought we were going to go into the bye 5-4. So I'm not expecting it to be this week. All right, he's a franchise, but I do think this season, this is it. This is the season. If this season we're coming out and he's playing like how he's playing right now, we got to make a change. I guess that's my final word. If he is playing the way that he has played these 5 games, where every 5 games he'll give us 1 quarter of great play, not elite, but great play, then yeah, we got to make a change because this team with all the contracts, because this next year is the last year that we have Carl, so many guys, their contract expire next year. Next year is the year we cannot go in with a quarterback like that. So he's got to step up.
I agree. And, there's two final words I got here. First of all, for all the Zach Pack folks, the Zach can do no wrong. I'm getting a tattoo of Zach on my ass cheek. For all of you guys that are out there, first of all, I want to say I respect you and I appreciate your commitment to the bit, if you even believe it still yourself. But when we're watching this game and we see what Josh Allen does, keep in mind that's what a great quarterback is supposed to look like. That's going to be. And I want us to all watch this. That is what a great quarterback is supposed to look like. Because I think these people, these Zach Pack, these he can do no wrong. These people, I think they don't watch enough of the NFL. They don't see what some other quarterbacks can do. Because at the end of the day, I think this is something that I think some of us kind of caught. Darnold showed more flashes than Zach has. If we're being honest, I think Darnold showed us a little bit more flashes than Zach has, and he had less weapons. And if I'm being honest, maybe I could be wrong. That's what I'm going to say. And I'll tell you what, flashes don't mean shit. I'm sick of hearing about, we have flashes. Oh, we have flashes. That doesn't mean anything. Woody, we could go into the NFL. If we played an entire NFL season as a starter, we could probably put together a flash highlight reel. Okay? That doesn't mean anything. Show me a game. Show me a game of where these flashes are consistent through the whole game. Show me a series of games where it's flashes of bad. I want to see flashes of poor play when the standard is good play. That's what we need. When we talk about flashes, it'd be flashes of poor play because that means it's not happening much. So watch Josh Allen this weekend and see what a good quarterback looks like. And honestly, come tell me that Zach is even remotely close to being there. Second thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it now. I've said it in text messages. I could pull up and date a couple of weeks ago. I think and this is worst case scenario. This is not a prediction. This is worst case scenario. If Zach just isn't showing us that he can do it. If Mike White comes in and it doesn't really work out for him either, or if one of them gets hurt and neither of them are performing well enough, I want to see Chris Streveler get an opportunity. And hear me out when I say this. Obviously, he went up against third-string talent in the preseason. Third-string talent. So did Joe Flacco. He got the starting job. He looked terrible in the preseason. Zach Wilson was going against second-string players in the preseason. Looked terrible. Mike White looked okay in a couple series. Chris Streveler showed up, and he said, I don't care who you are. I'm going to run it down your freaking throat. That kid, at the very least, he went of the 4 preseason games that we had, we were losing in every single one of them until he came in, and he had 4 comeback victories against 4-stringers. Absolutely. But you know what? Who's to say he can't do it against better players? We don't know. We have zero data to say he can or he cannot. We can only say that he had the heart, and he came out and freaking balled. So you know what? If we are that lost at quarterback where we have no idea what's going on, give him a shot. Give him a shot. If it doesn't work out, great. Now we know. Because until we know, we're going to be sitting here questioning, the veteran, Joe Flacco, he won a Super Bowl. Guy sucks. Guy stinks. Mike White, we don't know. We don't know. We got to do it in order. Mike White after Zach. But then give me Chris Streveler. Give him a shot. If it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out with Chris Streveler, but we were in a position where we needed to give him a shot in the first place, then we've got worse problems than Chris Streveler not working out. Because if he needs to be on the field because Zach, Joe Flacco, and Mike White aren't working, then guess what? That season wasn't going anywhere anyway. Show me what he could do.
Well, guys, you heard that is the final word from Fitz. Shout out to some positivity about his number one nemesis, Sam Darnold, out there. That was crazy. Very factual, though. It's something that has been written.
Doesn't come from me much. Okay. Continue. Yeah. I don't speak facts very often. All right.
But Streveler, I will not even respond. I will not respond to Streveler. You guys are going to have to steal my diary to hear
He
my
hasn't earned a shot. That guy balled in the preseason.
He did. I mean, in the preseason,
every opportunity he had, he executed and he looked great.
He would literally be the greatest quarterback in the history of the XFL, which is where he should go.
Well, wasn't he in the Canadian Football League, and he won over there.
He did win. Yeah. He
Which
was.
is what I'm saying. Why not?
He also played in the for the Cardinals. He wasn't great there. But
he wasn't. But Geno Smith wasn't great for the last 2 decades, and now all of a sudden he appears. So you know what? Experience comes success, and give the ball to Chris.
Hey. So start that Strev movement. All right, get that Strev your engine.
Pick him up in your fantasy leagues. Get him while you can. He's going to be coming in hot.
Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this flight. All right, we are landing right now. But we will see you on Sunday for the recap. The recap of this game. Hopefully we won't be crying too bad. And hey, tune in to see the fan of the week. Okay, we started that initiative. Quan, he won last week. Now we got somebody else this week. We're gonna have people for the rest of the season. Keep on showing us love. You know, we were at 300 just a couple of weeks ago when I started this, when we started this initiative. Now here you got your co-pilots here, and we at 350, 360. I don't even know. Just everybody coming on the Take Flight Talk, plane, the flight, the jet. So thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next not next week, but we'll see you on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Night, guys.